Can you hear me now? I wonder if that has helped. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. We'll have to see. Maybe because it was hidden? I don't know. Regardless of all of that, thank you for being here. Sorry if you couldn't hear me. I'm here now. Could you not hear me before? With all of that said, the drivers are coming down through into turn 12 now, past the Hamilton straight, final sector of the track, 60-minute race, one pit stop. I'm sorry you couldn't hear me before. I think I figured out what the issue is, and hopefully we can fix that for next time. One mandatory pit stop for all drivers. There is a 58-minute pit window. I do see a couple drivers in the pits currently. Dylan Kaiser, I don't think he hit drive. Looks like it's just the single driver. I think I learned my lesson, guy. And hopefully we don't run into that issue again. With that said, let's get the music turned off. I'm assuming you guys can hear the game okay, hopefully. Final corners now. Drivers are side by side. They are ready to roll. Leading us off, Elpo, followed by Tony Danzig. You don't hear the game either. Okay, that's not good. Okay. I know what the issue is. We'll get that going. Sorry for all of that. This has just been a disaster. We had one change here. Okay, should be able to hear the game now too. We are green at Silverstone, race 1, the GT4s. Ilpo taking the first corner. P2 falling off immediately, side by side with P3, JJ Bird. JJ trying to get alongside into Maggots and Beckett's. JJ will have the inside line here. Tony's going to hold it off track. Going to try and rejoin side by side. Fairly safe rejoin back into the position he was in. Nico Menendez now trying to get alongside. You see that train of cars falling off immediately from Ilpo. Ilpo is just going to run away. You can see JJ trying to be fairly defensive way up in the front there. Into the inside. Tony loses those positions to Nico Menendez. Nico is going to now try and put that pressure onto JJ as they go into turn 9. Nico's not going to send it. We have some position changes. Tony Danzig slipping out behind. My goodness, what happened there? Tony all the way down in the bottom. Woo! Let's see if we can see that in action here. Looks like it was Casey Swanseeger initially. See what happened with him. Going in. Oh, he misses braking point majorly and rear ends car number 22, who hits Tony Danzig. Came out nearly unscathed. Some damage to his front end because of that. However, Tony Danzig's down in nearly last. Brandon Pfeiffer just above him. Another car off track just ahead. Simon Tonkin looks like he's got some damage to his rear end. There may have been another incident. Oh, there he goes, slipping around. He's got those hot tires now from that slide. He's trying to catch back up. The battle ahead. Still going. Ilpo is now 2 seconds ahead of P2. Nico Menendez, 0.9. Almost out of slipstream range of JJ Burr. Ilpo has done a fast lap of 2:17. That will be the fastest lap because it's the only one completed so far. But we'll see faster than that as we go. See some battling going on up here between Devin Anthony and Drew Freiberger to go into turn 1. Devin's closing the gap up in that Aston. He's actually driving mine. You can see my name on the side of the car there. Going to try and get a little bit closer as they go into Maggots and Beckett's. There they go. Losing a little bit of time on the way through Beckett's. Heavy on the throttle on the way out and falling off quite a bit. All the way near the back. Now we got Simon Tonkin trying to make up positions. You see in that green AMG as it drives right underneath us at this point. Second to last on track right now. Drivers can go into the pits now if they want to. It's 58-minute pit window, so they can get their pit stop out of the way if they feel like it's necessary. Simon going to the inside of Alex Londar, getting that position. Dylan Kaiser following through. Both those drivers are going to run away from Alex Londar in that Camaro. Glenn Jacobs looks like he's catching up to Devin Anthony at this point. Devin did fall off a little bit to Drew Freiberger ahead. Looks like he was able to gain that position or that time back a little bit, but also while that's happening, Devin has Glenn Jacobs behind, so there's going to be a little bit of pressure. Devin usually doesn't buckle underneath that pressure though, so he will just continue to stay right behind Drew as best as he can. You can see him getting just that much closer. Drew is going to try and hold off both of these drivers. As they go through turn 16 onto the Wellington Straight. That AMG is pulling away just a little bit. A little bit of flashing there from Devin Anthony behind as he tries to gain that time. There he is right on his tail. Trying not to rear end him. You can see him go a little bit wide because of it. Ilpo has done another fast lap, 209.957. We know he can go faster than that. Drew Freiberger slipping through the final corner. It's going to lose him some time. Allow Devin Anthony to try and put some pressure on him. Onto the front straight now. We got another battle ahead of Carl Banning. We may watch that, but I want to see what happens with Devin and Drew. Devin taking that tighter line on the way in. Drew using all the track to the outside. Devin tucking his nose in as they go into Maggots. All the way to the inside. Completely side by side. Using all of the track. They're side by side through Beckett's now. Devin going to try and tuck back in, get the better exit at this point, but now he's got Glenn right behind to worry about. Devin's going to try and stay in the draft here. Down Hanger Straight. You can see Devin tucking to the inside, way up there at the top of the screen. On the inside of the corner now, through turn 7, Stowe, side by side they go. This is going to allow Drew to have that inside line. It looks like Devin backed out, but now he's got Glenn right on his tail. Going to be kind of defensive here. He doesn't want Glenn to tuck his nose in as they go into turn 9. A lot of battling going on in this mid-pack. A little bit of breathing room for Drew ahead. And for Devin behind, he doesn't have to worry about Glenn at this point. Glenn now has David behind to worry about. May see an overtake opportunity as they go. Devin keeping that pressure on Drew. That third sector is Devin's best sector, it seems. A little bit too early on the braking there, or rather too far to the inside. Going to allow Drew to kind of run away. Glenn Jacobs, you can see in that AMG behind, is now going to put the pressure right back onto Devin. This mid-pack battle is raging right now. Tony Danzig is in the middle of the pack. You can see him behind in that other AMG. And then David further back in that pink and black Alpine. Side by side with Devin Anthony. Tony's going to try and get the overtake done on the outside. Doesn't look like it's going to quite happen. He's going to use all the track on the way out. A little bit of grass. You can see the three-wide situation developing with Glenn Jacobs. Is Glenn going to let it happen? Is he going to tuck into the inside? What's going to happen here? Tony Danzig is behind, but he's going to try and get around both these two drivers. Is going to tuck in with Glenn. He is going to look there. It's not going to happen. Tony learned his lesson from lap 1, turn 1, or rather turn 2 there, going wide. Tony is going to back out, be a little bit more patient. That's fine. See if he can get the better exit. There we go. Down the Hanger Straight again. These Noobs R Us drivers all racing for this 10th position. This is exactly what Drew wants to happen. He wants to see these guys battle further in the back here. You can see Glenn Jacobs Going extremely wide there. He's going to end up losing the position to Tony Danzig as well. Glenn may end up losing a position to David here shortly. Have to see as we go. I'm going to move up. I want to look at Carl Banning here. We'll come back to that battle here shortly. Carl Banning putting some pressure on Joe Allenson for this 5th place. Joe has not really let him pass in the last couple of laps, but we'll see. We know that Camaro has a lot of power on the straight, so we'll see if he's able to get up and around this Aston as they come through the loop now with Casey Swanseger in tow. Casey wants these two ahead to battle because he wants to get into the tow. Down Wellington straight they go. Carl. Is he going to tuck in? He is. Poke his nose in, come back out, just trying to get Allenson to buckle under that pressure. Allenson able to hold his position just fine. Coming through the final corners now onto the front straight. You can see all the track being used by Allenson ahead. Carl trying to be just a little bit tighter here. He knows that if he can close that radius up, he can get a little bit closer, even if he doesn't have the speed. He's going to stay in the draft here. In through turn 1. Banning is falling off just a little bit. It's not going to really be enough for him to buckle. You can see a little bit of damage to Casey Swanseger from that rear end on lap 1. Keeping that pressure on him. Falling off a little bit here. We'll have to see as he comes out of turn 6 onto the hanger straight now. Carl Banning keeping that pressure up. Closing the gap little by little on each straight. Trying to get that better turn in. Right on his tail. They want to move back to the mid-pack battle again here shortly, but this battle right here looks like we may get an overtake opportunity in a lap or less. Have to see. Casey is now within tow of the draft of Carl Banning. Well, he knows that these two guys putting pressure on each other is going to cause them both to be slow. Going to allow Casey to try and catch up and hopefully fight for that 5th place as well. Carl closing the gap little by little, now only 2/10 behind Allenson. You can see Allenson being defensive as they go into Village. Going to go wide here, try and get the better exit. Looks like it may happen. Right on his tail, down Wellington straight. To the inside they go. Carl is going to be side by side with Allenson into turn 17. He has the inside. They are going to be side by side through turn 18, which is going to be to Allenson's advantage. Carl's going to back out just a little bit. It's not going to be enough. He just wants to kind of keep Allenson on that inside line, and it just didn't happen. Jedi Matt 42, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Also, Botlando, I didn't say hi to you. Hello. Thank you for your first time chat. Thank you for being here. Battle has been going. You can see Casey Swanseger is now fully up behind Carl Banning. Carl doesn't like the pressure of Casey behind. Casey is very fast in that McLaren 570. Oh my goodness gracious. He just cut the crap out of that corner. Luckily, no major time loss. He is slow, but didn't really lose any position. Carl is now off of Allenson after all of that. The battle is starting to fall apart here. Casey is now going to be the one to put pressure on Carl. Carl no longer able to keep up to Joe behind. See that McLaren gaining a little bit down the straight into the braking zone. How much space Casey's able to catch up there. From Casey's point of view, into club. Ooh, you can see that Camaro going wide into the first part of that. Going to allow Casey to catch back up a little bit. Casey's enjoying this pressure. We were doing our GT3 race earlier. We could not keep up with Carl, but now Casey is on Carl's rear, and Carl's feeling that pressure. He wasn't used to us being right behind him the whole last race, but now he's got it. He's mid-pack. He's got to kind of deal with it. Not something he's used to. Casey going really, really hot into Village. Going to allow him to fall off a little bit, give Carl some breathing room. With that said, we did have some position changes in the last little bit. Tony Danzig is now behind Casey and ahead of Drew Freiberger. Simon Tonkin has moved their way up as well. Dylan Kaiser has moved up, gaining those positions back. Michael Maleta has gained 5 positions, I believe. Is that what that was? 5 positions from the beginning of the race. So, definitely happy to be up there in that 3rd place. The battles are starting to fall off a little bit. Looks like Dylan Kaiser is going to put some pressure on Simon Tonkin for 10th place. Dylan going through the final corner now onto the front straight. Crossing the start-finish line. Drivers, like I said, can take their pits whenever they feel like it. 45 minutes left in this race. The battles are still raging. You can see Simon being fairly defensive as they go into turn 1 and turn 2. Maggots and Beckett's here. See how snappy that Aston is as it follows Simon on the way out. Down the hanger straight. Falling off a little bit. He's got Glenn Jacobs behind. Glenn is not in the draft, so he will not catch up down this straight. Braking hard and heavy, trying to use that slip angle. Just get the better exit. You can see how much that car has to lean to do that. Into the braking zone of turn 9. Dylan keeping that pressure on Simon. Simon knows he is right on his tail, and he can feel it. As we go into Abbey, that Aston is going to stay right there on his tail. Simon slipping off track. Simon doing the tonkin bonkin. He's going to rejoin without any damage, losing 2 positions. Now is behind Glenn Jacobs. Just got himself slippy. Dylan is now going to try and run away from Glenn. He was 1.8 seconds up and is now 1.5 from Glenn, but now he's got all this breathing room, so probably feeling pretty good about that. With all of that said, Ilpo is now put a 5.8 second gap on JJ Burr. JJ is not usually one to be slow. Has also put a gap on P3, 4 seconds. Michael Maleta is now 2 seconds ahead of Nicholas Menendez. Nico, 5 seconds ahead of P5. The battle is right here. P5. Nice. Pressure creates luck. It absolutely does. If anybody's curious how to join this series, we have 30 drivers signed up. We set it to 40. People were still signing up. Only 17 showed up tonight. It is the first race. It is a holiday weekend, so we do understand that people are taking their holidays. But if you want to sign up, you can still sign up. ! SimGrid. We can get more GT4s on track for next week. Ooh, we got a battle in the back here between Alex Londar and Devin Anthony. Ooh, you can see Alex going wide into Maggot, and then the final corner of Maggot's and into the first corner of Beckett's. Devin going to keep that pressure on this Aston. Or not the Aston, with the Aston on the Camaro. The Camaro has just moved out of the way here. Does not need to. I think Alex is indicating that he is going to let Devin pass and just try and make it through. There he goes. He gave up that position to Devin Anthony. That could be a strategy for Alex. He may just try and do a quick pit stop and overtake Devin in the pits as we go. You can see one driver so far has completed their pit stop. That is Brandon Pfeiffer. He got in that accident way early on with Casey Swanseger and Tony Danzig. So he may have just repaired and went back out. These other drivers still have pit stops to make. So even though he's in 17th and down 11 positions, he could gain those back as we go. Carl Banning putting pressure on Joe Allenson ahead. Carl also has Casey Swanseger still behind. We saw this happening earlier. The battle was raging for a little bit, and then something happened where they fell off from each other. Give me just a second, everybody. I do need to turn on some fans in my room. It is getting hot in here. Try and cool it off in this room. Just a little bit. Thank you for your patience there. Carl Bannon keeping that pressure up. Casey keeping his pressure up as well. Even with the damage, Casey's able to keep pace with these drivers. You can see all three of these drivers here. Very quick. 2:11 from each one of them. Casey's best lap was a 2:11 flat. Joe Allison's was a 2:11.5. So he is holding these drivers off fairly well. Are we going to see an overtake opportunity here arise from Carl Banning? He is tighter on the inside of Stowe. Not able to get into an overtaking position as they go into turn 9. There we go. Pressure is being put on now as they come out of turn 11 onto the Hamilton straight. You can see that Aston going really wide, trying to gain as much time as he can. Hopefully he doesn't get a penalty because of that. That Camaro is just staying right behind. See how much time he's gaining. It looks like he broke a little bit late here. As soon as we switch cameras in, looks like at that, I'm just going to back it up really quick. I want to say, oh my goodness, we just missed that too. Did you see what I saw right before I hit the button? I just wanted to see that overtake from Casey Swansea here. There was a balk that caused them to spin there. So now we know what that was and what happened. But Carl's got to try and gain that time back. Casey, although he did lose time, wasn't a lot. He's going to gain that time back to Joe Allenson ahead as long as he can keep that pressure up. Moving back again, Dylan Kaiser is now putting pressure on Drew Freiberger ahead. These two drivers do know each other. I did see them chatting a little bit in the GT4 chat earlier today. Drew going wide through turn 17, now into turn 18. Dylan starting out wide, trying to get a better run on the exit. Looks like it may happen. There it goes. Side by side through the final corner now. Overlap is afforded. The overtake is going to be completed into turn 1. Into the braking zone. Is Drew going to be able to hold that position? It looks like he's trying to. He is going to stay side by side with Dylan as they go into turn 2 now. Beginning of Maggots and Beckett's. A little bit of helicam action so you can see what's going on here. Drew going really wide. He's able to hold the position and stay on track. Dylan backed out. That was a good amount of battling there from Drew. We'd love to see that. Dylan is not going to give up, though. Going to go to the inside. You can see Drew being defensive, holding him to that inside line. I'm going to go back to the helicam again. There's a balk. He says, get back on your line. Doesn't matter. Drew ends up going a little bit wide. He's able to get the run on the exit there. Going into turn 9 of club now. Kind of overcooked it. Gonna just try and get back on track. He's lost a lot of speed now. Going into turn 11. They're side by side. Oh my goodness, Dylan is off track. Rejoining side by side again. Drew's got the advantage into this corner. Doesn't want to hit him for what, the ntth time. The overtake has finally been completed by Dylan. It took nearly half a lap to complete that overtake. A lot of pressure from Drew on the defensive end. Drew trying to cut the corner, ends up hitting the sausage curb and is now falling off. His teammate Glenn Jacobs behind, trying to close the gap up. That battle has concluded. All drivers still out on track. Brandon Pfeiffer, even after his pit stop, oh, I take that back. He's completed his pit stop. Simon Tonkin and Devin Anthony both completed theirs too. So Brandon Pfeiffer is moving up in positions with that early pit stop. We may see him move up to mid-pack yet. Ilpo. Let's get it on board with Ilpo, shall we? We'll watch him finish his lap. That was really far off track. You're right, it was. I feel like he almost got tapped to go off track for that, though. Ilpo is one of the fastest drivers in our community. He is a rookie series mentor. So if you guys join the Discord and you're looking for a mentor, you can ask him to help. He is happy to help. He is very straightforward. He will tell you exactly what you're doing wrong. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. It's not that he's lying to you. He is starting to run away. He has no back markers around him. He does have a couple that are within the same sector of him, as him, but he's not going to catch him within a lap or two. Almost halfway through today's race. 36 minutes left. Do one last check for any battles on track. Glenn Jacobs trying to catch up to Drew Freiberger ahead. Not going to happen. We'll have to watch that as we progress. Casey Swanseeger trying to catch up to Joe Allenson as well. Moving up to Ilpo as he comes through the final corners. We will do an onboard with him. I can't really give you a good rundown on how Ilpo is going to drive because it's better than I'll ever do. All the way to the left side. Getting ready for that first corner. Braking between the 100 and the 50. Right before the 50 for him. Trailing your brake all the way in. Using the throttle to get you around. You can see it twisting as he's barely turning his wheel. Into Maggots and Beckett's. You don't want to brake until you're at this first apex. And just enough to get the car to turn in. He's using all of the track on both apexes there. And then once again, all of the track there. Hitting on the throttle nice and early. Full throttle all the way out. Going to move all the way to the left. We got an incident, looks like, between David and Alex Londar. We may come back to that. Turning in early and then downshifting a lot just to get that car to turn in. Turn 7. Using all of your gears to slow down as well. If you don't do it right, you will blow your engine up, but Ilpo knows exactly when to shift. Watch out for that sausage curb on the right side there. Light tap of the brakes here as well. Maybe just a lift even. Get the car to turn in. Early on the throttle on the way out. All the way back to the left side. You can hear him smashing those gears to help him slow down. Got that sausage curb on the left. You don't want to hit that. Early on the throttle on the way out. Out of turn 16 onto Wellington straight now. Another really fast corner right here. Just enough braking to get the car to turn. And then early on the throttle on the way out. Right to the next apex. Using all the track on the way out. And then through the final corner. Onto the front straight. Crossing the start-finish line. Did a 2:10.485. We did see an incident arise. I don't know if we can go back to it. It looks like we might be able to quick replay this. We'll see what happens. This was between David and Londar that we saw earlier. I don't know if we're going to see anything. I did hit quick replay. The game. Oh, there it was. Londar off track, it looks like. David recovering from that. I don't know what happened there with Londar, but luckily nothing too major for David. With that said, drivers have started taking their pit stops. You can see Londar did his pit stop that lap. We are halfway through the race, 33 minutes remaining. We are going to see more pit stops. Drew Freiberger entering the pits now. Drew Freiberger jumping in the pits. Currently in 11th, predicted to be in 12th after all the pit stops are done. Brandon Pfeiffer is done with all his pit stops. We're predicting him to be in 10th overall. With that said, he's going to go in, hit his pit. Have another driver in the pits, CW Wells, it looks like. Just entering the pits as well. So the battles are off for a little bit. Casey Swanseeger catching up to Joe Allenson ahead a little bit. I don't know if Casey's going to try and fix that damage to his car. I think he's feeling fairly comfortable that he's able to get up and battle for top 5 with that front end damage. So We'll have to see in the next couple of laps what he does. Pfeiffer we're predicting to be in 10th. Pfeiffer has moved up already. Actually, we're predicting him to be in 9th now. So even though after that first bonk of for lap 1 for Mr. Pfeiffer, he may end up being in the top 10, well ahead of these drivers ahead of him. He does have the pace to get around these guys. His fastest lap was a 2:11.4. David was a 2:12 ahead, and Glenn's was a 2:13. So he absolutely can get up and around these two drivers, and possibly around the next. So we'll have to see how long these pit stops go. If people are going to jump in to the pit and take tires, if they're going to jump in and take fuel, or if they're just going to do a stop and go. They are not required to do anything other than come to a complete stop and turn off their engine and go. As we were watching, we got two little battles on track right now between one between Brandon Pfeiffer and David. He's gaining on David here. Senor David has not taken his pit stop, so we should see him jump into the pit shortly. And the other between Casey Swanseeker and Joe Allenson. These drivers are all outside of 1 second of their competitor, so kind of a relaxed moment. Glenn Jacobs jumping into the pits now. Let's see what happens with Glenn. It looks like he's about to jump right in. I want to see if he's going to do a full stop, change tires or anything, or if he's going to shut off and go. We'll have to see. Driving down the pit lane. I don't know which one's his. Only he knows. You can hear David and Brandon Pfeiffer passing now. Into the pits. Engines off. Engines on and going. So nothing for him. He took full fuel and everything to start. David is now trying to be defensive to Brandon Pfeiffer behind. Technically on different stints. David doesn't need to battle him, but he absolutely can. He has the ability to do so. Out through Hanger Straight now. Brandon's going to tuck his nose in. David's going to move to the outside line. Brandon says, never mind. What's going to happen? Here we go into the braking zone. David goes wide. Allows Brandon to just get around safely. Like I said, these two aren't really battling for position. David might just be saying, let's work together for a little bit. David in that WRT Alpine. Beautiful pink and black car. The battles are kind of relaxed at the moment. Like I said, the only two drivers on track near each other, Brandon and David, and then Casey Swanseeker. Casey jumping in the pits now. He does have a lot of damage. We'll have to see what happens. He's predicted to stay in his current position after all the pit stops have completed, so we'll have to see what happens here. Going to drop down a couple as he jumps into the pit. In he goes. Ready to come to a stop. Easing into it and stopping in his pit lane. Engine off. Looks like Casey may end up be fixing his damage and taking some fuel or tires. So he's going to lose some positions here. Yep, he's going to try and fix that damage, I believe, and might as well take some tires and fuel then. With that said, Casey's still in the pits. Leaving the pits now. Just got overtaken by Brandon Pfeiffer. Casey does have the ability to catch back up to these drivers ahead. As Casey comes out of the pits, it looks like, I haven't seen the front of his car because the camera has not moved to that in forever. He did fix his damage. So he will be a good amount faster, I believe. Glenn Jacobs now behind his teammate Drew Freiberger. Glenn and Drew nearly on pace with each other. Just going to be a battle of wits. We'll have to see how these two drivers go. Both of them have completed their pit stops. Glenn trying to close that gap as much as he can. It's not going to happen. The top 8 drivers are still yet to pit. We'll have to see what happens. I don't think we're going to see any other overtakes through the pits. Unless somebody decides to take tires like we saw earlier. I don't think we're going to see anything else. We were talking about Brandon Pfeiffer. Brandon may still move up a position into 8th because of the pit. He is currently in 9th. So once Dylan Kaiser goes in, we'll have to see if Mr. Pfeiffer can get up and around. The gap has closed significantly between Drew and Glenn. Glenn is going to keep that pressure on his teammate of Drew Freiberger really wide onto the entrance of Village, sending it into the corner of the loop up over the curb. That's not enough for him to get alongside. It looked like he was going to try it. Didn't happen though. Glenn is going to lose the time down the straight, using the draft to try and mitigate the time that he lost, but he isn't going to gain. As they go into turn 17, Glenn is going to try and get the better exit before this final hairpin. Looks like it happened. Drew actually went wide into the hairpin. We kind of can't see it. I think they're side by side. Almost. Glenn right on the tail of Drew Freiberger. Glenn going to the inside here. Side by side down the front straight. Backs out, thinks better of it. Tucks back in. He says, you know what? Never mind. We're going for it. Into turn 1. Really fast sweeping corner. Drew's going to be able to hold that outside line. Into Maggins and Beckett's they go. Drew's still ahead. Glenn not backing off at all. Glenn says, okay, we'll wait until the next straight, see what happens. Backed off quite a bit here through Maggins and Beckett's. We know that Glenn's... Ooh! Drew's off track. That's going to allow Glenn to get side by side down Hanger Straight and get around him. Glenn has completed the overtake on Hanger Straight just because of that incident of Drew driving off track. There is a car of Simon Tonkin behind. Simon is closing that gap a little bit here and there. But we may see another battle with Drew here shortly. Yep. Drew's trying to put some pressure back on Glenn. He ends up slipping a little bit behind. Have to see if he can catch back up. 24 minutes remaining. Now is your chance, everybody. If you haven't already, take a drink of something. Get yourself something to hydrate with. Been a long day. It's been warm out. I'm having myself a drink of a vanilla Coke. We got some position overtakes going on here. It looks like Nico Menendez just lost a position to Dylan Kaiser. What happened there? I'm not quite sure. Nico, looks like he slipped or something. Or it's just his pit stop. Could have just been his pit. I didn't catch it. I didn't watch him go in. So it's unfortunate on my end. Dylan is up in 7th, which is well above the predicted. I wonder if Nico took tires or something, because he should not be that far off. Well, Nico's fastest lap is a 2:11.1. Dylan's is a 2:11.4. So we know that Nico has the ability to get back up and around Dylan. Still, the top 7 drivers have to pit. They've got 22 minutes to do so. Nico tucking it in right onto the bumper of Dylan and then sends it into the corner of turn 10, getting around Dylan. What a way to overtake Nico. No bonking, nothing, just close racing. Hard to see it with this camera view, but kind to see that Aston right behind. A pretty cool camera view, isn't it? Dylan Kaiser trying to catch back up to Nico. Is it going to happen? We're not sure. The battle between these two drivers is on for now. Dylan down the back straight. Down Wellington straight, rather. Braking hard and heavy, going really wide into turn 17, trying to get on the throttle earlier. It's not going to happen. I wonder if Dylan's tires are starting to go. He's fallen off quite a bit here. Already almost outside of slipstream range of Nico Menendez. 1 second out here. Carl Banning in the pits. Puts him down in 8th currently. He is coming out of the pits, it looks like. He's going to be... Oh, no, he is not. He is into the pits. Brandon Pfeiffer coming through the final corner now. We've got an incident with Simon Tonkin behind. What happened there? Let's back that up just a second. Looks like it was just a Tonkin bonking, too heavy on the throttle. With all of that said, Carl Banning has left the pits. We're going to catch back up with him. He is in 8th place overall. Dylan Kaiser trying to keep that pressure on Nico Menendez still. I was getting ready to move on to Simon Tonkin. He was behind Drew Freiberger, and we thought there was going to be an overtake opportunity, but as soon as I moved back to him, he ends up slipping. So, Dylan Kaiser, what a debut. He's joined us for his first race with us and is fighting for 6th place overall with Nico Menendez. And Nico is not one to be slow. So, I think that KTM is one, kind of screwing with him, and 2, slowing him down quite a bit. But with that said, Dylan is going to try and keep that pressure on him. Into turn 12 they go. I feel like Dylan has that corner nailed compared to Nico. He ends up gaining a little bit. Ooh, the Helicam camera like decided he was going to look around for a little bit. It looks like he's losing a little bit of time as they go through the loop. But down Wellington Straight, he may have a little bit extra speed here. I have to see. Nico moving to the inside to kind of block the draft, but it's not going to work. Doesn't matter. Outside of that slipstream range anyways. Into the braking zone. He's able to gain a little bit of time on Nico. Not enough to quite put enough pressure on him. Final 20 minutes of the race. Most of the drivers have split up. Dylan Kaiser still has to do his pit stop. Looks like we do have 2 drivers in the pits, Moleda and who's that? Allenson as well. I'm trying to look at him. Allenson's in the pits. Moleda's in the pits. Both these drivers in the pits. Neither of them did a quick pit. They're taking fuel or tires or both. Going to allow a couple other drivers to pass. Carl Banning's now up in 6th because of that. Dylan Kaiser keeping that pressure on Nico Menendez. Allenson coming out in 7th. 8th place, Moleda. Now down in 9th. Brandon Pfeiffer is able to get up and around like we were talking about earlier because he took his pit on like lap 1 or 2. So he's able to get up in 8th place even after all of that. Dylan Kaiser has actually gained a little bit on Nico Menendez here. Every other corner, I feel like he ends up gaining and falling off. Got another battle going on. After Michael Moleda came out of the pits, he's now directly ahead of Casey Swanseger. So, a couple of battles as these guys finish up their pit stops. Last 20 minutes of the race now. Still got 4 drivers that have yet to pit. So, we'll have to see what happens. As far as predictions go, it looks like Tony Danzig, who is currently in 3rd, he'll come out in 6th. JJ Burr, who's in 2nd, will stay in 2nd. He is in the pits now, entering as we speak. And it looks like Dylan Kaiser's the only other one. He's in 5th, but he's going to come out in 8th. So he will be he'll be battling Michael Moleda, I believe. You can see a little bit of defensiveness from Nico, but it's not really necessary as Dylan is not close enough. Keep that pressure. Into the final corner they go. Is Dylan going to jump in the pits this lap, or is he going to hold off? He still has plenty of time. 16 minutes left to do his pit stop, realistically. JJ Burr's leaving the pits now. On the way out, he's only going to be a couple seconds ahead of Tony Danzig. Tony is still yet to pit as well, though. So Tony's just trying to bask in the glory of podium for a little bit, even though he's not predicted to be in the podium on the way in or on the way out of the pits. He will probably still be top 5 on the way out, though. We'll have to see. The battles have started to fall off once again. Dylan can see Dylan and Nico there. Nico starting to pull away a little bit. I do have Carl Banning behind in that Camaro. Carl, his fastest lap was a 2:11.6. So he has pace, but it's not quite pace enough to keep up with these two drivers ahead. I believe Nico's tires are starting to go off. Something happened with Nico, causing him to be a little bit extra slow. We know that he can be in the 210s or quicker. Driver we haven't talked about much is Ilpo. Ilpo is 45 seconds ahead of P2. 4-5. So he's definitely killing it. JJ Burr, 5 seconds ahead of Tony Danzig. After his pit, will be in probably 7 seconds or so ahead of Nico Menendez. Nico has Dylan right behind again. Dylan has actually closed that gap as they come through turn 14 now, through Village into the loop. Let's see if Dylan is able to get a little bit of extra pressure on Nico. Doesn't quite look like it. It seems like Sector 2 is where Dylan is able to close up to Nico, but in Sector 3 he ends up falling off. And then he stays right where he was in Sector 1. Fairly calm last bit of the race. Dylan still has a pit stop to do. Looks like JJ Burr's entering the pits now. And JJ will be overtaken temporarily by Tony Danzig. But like I said, Tony still needs a pit as well. Nico Menendez is actually able to overtake JJ as well. So JJ has moved down into 5th. Nico has completed his overtake. So my guess is the final outcome is going to be Ilpo, Nico, and then JJ for our top 3. Actually, Carl Banning is going to probably overtake. We'll have to see what happens here. Carl Banning predicted as well to be in top 3. Currently ahead of Burr. Burr has left the pits. Did I just miss something? Burr's in 10th. What happened? Is he doing a full-on pit stop? It took him 50 seconds. I wonder if he got tires and fuel. That was not required by him at all. He's going to move so far down because of that. Wow. Wow. Simon Tonkin gaining on Drew Freiberger once again. These two teammates. I feel like Tonkin. Oh my goodness. Tonkin just hit Drew. Drew's now slipping and sliding through turn 1. Simon was able to get away. Both these drivers didn't take a lot of damage, but that position was lost by Simon, or by Drew. And Drew says, I'm catching right back up, buddy. Let's go. Simon may give that position back, though. We'll have to see. Down hanger straight they go. No backing out from Simon, it looks like. He said, you know what? I'm taking it. With that said, Dylan still has yet to pit. But he's keeping pressure on Nico Menendez. Nico has caught up to Tony Danzig and is putting pressure on Tony. If I were Tony, I would probably want to jump into the pits this lap or the next, because you don't want to lose any extra time. There he goes into the pits, just like I was saying. And then you can see behind Dylan Kaiser also jumping in the pits. Dylan is hoping that Tony will take a longer pit stop. Tony slowed down way too much almost. We'll have to see what happens. The race between these two drivers is in the pits. Dylan and Tony. Tony wants to stay ahead. He just needs to make that pit stop quicker. If I were him, I would take no tires. If I already had the fuel, I wouldn't even take fuel. Just jump in and go. I have to see. Coming to the stop now. He's stopped. Engine's off. We are seeing some positions gained. Dylan's going. Tony's going. Tony's going to hold that position over Dylan, leaving the pits. There's a lot of position changes there. Tony is now in 8th behind Casey Swanseeger. Right behind him. And Dylan is actually 2 seconds behind Tony. Oh, that was definitely not quite how Tony wanted that to happen. Especially after starting out up in the top, where was he? 2nd place. He's 6 places down from where he started, so Yeah, he started in second. So, with that said, the only person left to do a pit stop is Ilpo. My guess is Ilpo is just going to hold out. He has no reason to pit now. I mean, he can. No reason for him to pit. No reason for him not to pit. So he's all alone. Tony Danzig is the only one right now putting any sort of pressure on anybody, putting that pressure on Casey Swanseger. We did see that lap one, turn 9, right here in this part of the track, where Casey missed his braking point and ended up hitting, I believe it was either Dylan or Pfeiffer. I couldn't remember. Pfeiffer is who it was. And then that Pfeiffer went flying into Tony Danzig. So Tony does have the pace to get up and around Casey if he wants to. We'll have to see how it goes. We are in Tony's comfort zone in these GT4s. When he joined us, this is what he was driving, and he is very rapid in nearly any GT4 you put him in. It's surprising to see him in a AMG, but because he's normally a Camaro guy, but he's decided to do it, and it's showing that it was the right choice to make because he's able to be really quick in it. Into the braking zone, turn 17, Brooklands. Trying to gain a little bit. Looks like he's gone a little bit wide through into the final corner now. Luffield. Is it going to be enough for Casey to pull away? It does not look like it. Tony staying right behind Casey. Now, that McLaren is extremely fast on the straight, so Tony's going to have to do whatever he can to try and catch up to Casey in all the corners. The BOP is going to try and make it a little bit more balanced, but regardless of that, the McLaren is quick on the straights. Move up. Brandon Pfeiffer is in 5th overall. After getting crashed out early on in the race, has moved back up into 5th. Now a half second behind Joe Allenson. His fastest lap is a 2:10.9. Joe Allenson's is a 2:11.5. So the previous lap was a 2:10.9 for Brandon, his fastest lap. Joe's previous lap was a 2:12. So we may see an overtake yet. Here we go into turn 9. That Janetta can just clobber those corners. Not really clobber, but it is a lot better at turning than nearly any car. I thought we were going to have a side-by-side moment. We are not. Is Brandon going to tuck to the inside? He's not. Into the braking zone of turn 12. Just trying to get the better exit so that he can get around him. Looks like he's moved to the inside, turn 13. They're side-by-side as we go into turn 14 of Village. Brandon is going to hold that inside line, which is going to allow him to get the overtake done. Good overtake by Brandon. We have an advertisement. I'm going to run this advertisement, get it out of the way, so we can watch the final bit of this race. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you for being here. I hope today has been entertaining for you, even though we had some issues with the mics. I think I've got those fixed. Could not happen again. Post-race, we may see the issues arise. I'll try to get rid of that. No, actually, we'll be okay with post-race. Be good. Brandon Pfeiffer is going to just try and run away at this point. Tony Danzig still trying to keep some pressure on Casey Swanseger. Falling off a little bit. Tony. Now just barely outside of the slipstream of Casey Swanseger, that 1 second range. Joe Allenson is now outside of slipstream of Pfeiffer ahead, but he has Michael Maleta behind. Ilpo is still yet to do his pit. Nearly 60 seconds up on Nico Menendez. He's got about 6 minutes to do his pit stop. We should see him jumping in the pits any minute now. This lap or the next, maybe the following. One pit stop is required, though. Michael Maleta side by side with Joe Allenson for a split moment there. Came to it right in the moment. Looks like Michael was able to get up and around Joe Allenson. "20 seconds left on this advertisement." Michael falling off, or pulling away rather, from Joe Allenson. Is now going to try and put some pressure on Brandon Pfeiffer. He has gained, oh my goodness, right when I say he's gained a lot of time, he ends up cooking it into turn 14 there. Now in turn 15, he's got to try and gain that ground back up. Oppo is coming up to a couple back markers of P13 and 12. 6 minutes left. He could probably go one, maybe two more laps before he has to pit. But I would suggest, I would probably bet that he pits this lap or the next. So we'll have to see. Oppo was caught up to Drew Freiberger, it looks like. We have another overtake. What happened there? Michael Maleta into the pits again. I don't know what happened. I don't know why he's going in the pits. He was not required to. Oh, he had a drive-through possibly. We'll have to see. He doesn't look like he has an intention of going into the pits or into his pit stall. I believe he had a drive-through. That's exactly what it was. Abusing track limits. That's going to give a free position to Joe Allenson. JJ Burr's able to get around him as well. All these drivers. Michael Maleta ends up right behind JJ. That was a lot of positions lost because of that. With that said, Oppo is coming through the final corner now. He's gotten around a lot of the back markers. Got a pretty decent gap to P11 ahead of him. We were just watching Michael Maleta a little bit ago. Michael is nearly a second faster than JJ Burr on his fastest lap. We'll have to see if he's able to do that and catch back up. Alexio Gappa in chat. Hello, Alexio. Kind of a little bit of a relaxed moment of the race. We're in the last 5 minutes. Everybody's kind of fallen off and has snuggled into their positions. So we may see some, ooh, we got a slow driver here. Nico Menendez, looks like something happened. He got a little bit slow. I'm not going to lose a lot of time to Carl Banning behind. It doesn't really matter. He's got 15 seconds on him. So Michael Maleta is still trying to keep that pressure on JJ Burr. It's 3 a.m. You're hitting the books. I would just go to sleep at 3 a.m. I don't know what you're doing. You've been missing it, Alexio. We've got all sorts of cool little camera angles now. Look at this. The front splitter camera. The front right wheel camera. We've got, looking at JJ Burr here. We got the SRO wing camera. Isn't that cool? And we've got the grid camera too, so we've got all of that now. With that said, Maleta has gotten within slipstream of JJ Burr. It looks like he's able to gain on him in nearly every corner, so we'll have to see. Go off your new toys. We'll have to see if Michael is able to get around him. He's only got another 2 laps, probably, to do so. Gopo still has yet to do his pit stop. You may see Opal jumping in the pits now. This is what I would do if I were him, is get in the pits. That way you don't risk anything. Coming through the final corner. Tucking into the pits. There he goes. Michael. Not a lot of time gained, but he is still in the mirror of JJ. He's still going to keep that pressure on JJ. So I have to see how it goes. You want to race so bad? Well, get your stuff. All right, here comes. Pressure's on. Michael's going to look to the inside. Is he going to tuck in? He is not. Into the braking zone they both go. Michael right on the tail of Dylan Kaiser. Or I'm sorry, of JJ Burr. JJ not going to buckle under the pressure. Into turn 9. Pulls away a little bit. I lost that one. There we go. Sorry about that. What's the race format? 60-minute race, single pit stop. No requirements on the pit stop. You can just go in and stop and go. And that's it. We're using real life forecasted weather. Luckily, it's a beautiful day. So next week, it may not be. JJ still trying to keep Michael off his tail. Michael able to send it into turn 14, right on his tail. Coming out of the loop on Wellington straight now. Still in the draft, but falling off a little bit as he made his way out of that last corner. Is the draft going to be enough for him to tuck in? It doesn't look like it. Into the braking zone they go for turn 17. A little bit tighter than JJ was there, so he may try and gain that ground by just cutting those corners a little bit more. Oh, he's slipping! Lost a little bit of the downforce while he was in that corner. Ends up just slipping and sliding on the way out. He's got to do everything he can to gain that ground back up. This is going to be his final lap, I believe. Nope, he's got one more lap after this. So Ilpo's about to cross the start-finish line and start the final lap. Tony Danzig has kind of fallen off. Driver shout out Tony Danzig, so I'm talking about. Kind of fallen off of Casey Swanseger ahead. These drivers all kind of split up down the straight. You can see it's more like a qualifying race right now. All these drivers outside of a second of each other. Tony's doing everything he can to try and gain that ground back up, but not able to get there. You have a driver that's wide there. It's Alex Londar behind in the 232 Camaro. Pit window is closed at this point. Final lap is about to start. Ilpo is about to cross that start-finish line with 45 seconds left in the race. 27 seconds ahead of Nico Menendez. Major gap there.
Leaders on final lap now.
We're on the final lap. Casey the migratory bird Swanseger. Casey's actually gained a little bit of ground on Joe Allenson ahead. Almost within slipstream of him. He still has to finish this lap and then do another lap, though, so we'll have to see what happens here. There could be a battle between 3 drivers, maybe even 4 for 5th place. We'll have to see. Casey is in the draft. Joe Allenson gaining that ground. Is he going to tuck to the inside? He's not. Going to follow him into the next corner. Turn 17 into turn 18 here. Got to try and get the better exit because that McLaren does not turn compared to these other cars. It does have a great straight line speed, but the cornering is not good. With that said, there is a battle for 5th place. We got a battle for 9th as well with Maleta and Burr again. A couple of battles we got to watch through this final corner. Casey Swanseger right on the tail of Joe Allenson now. Can barely see through that car there. Oh my goodness. In the TV2, you can see they're side by side as they go into Maggots. Casey going to back out a little bit as they go through Beckett's now. That could have been dangerous. Oh, almost rear-ending. Going a little bit wide into the entry of the final corner of Beckett's and through Chapel Curve. Casey's going to try and get some draft and the run. You can see how defensive Joe Allenson's going to be there just temporarily. Is Casey going to tuck his nose in? He is. They are side by side into turn 7. Casey's got the overtake complete by the apex. Great overtake by Casey up into 5th place on his final lap. What a race. Great job. Dylan Kaiser's now on the tail of Tony Danzig. Michael Maleta keeping some pressure still too. Ilpo, our leader of the race, crossing the start-finish line in first, 28 seconds ahead of Nico Menendez. Oh, we got a yellow flag. Joe Allenson, what happened there? Looks like he may have slipped or something. I don't really know what happened. I don't see any other yellow flags, nothing. Joe Allenson's still yellow. I think he might be out of fuel, you guys. He is. He's got his blinkers on. He is out of fuel. He's just trying to coast to the finish line. Nico Menendez crossing in second. 15 seconds in trail is Carl Banning. Carl, another podium for him today. JJ Burr and Michael Maleta getting into it a little bit, looks like. Carl Banning crossing the finish line in third. 5 seconds in trail is Brandon Pfeiffer after his early bonk and early pit stop. Finishes in 4th overall. That's a great finish for Pfeiffer. Tony Danzig, Casey Swanseger, and Dylan all fighting through the final corner. Tony's going to be on the inside line. Is he going to finish ahead? He is not. Casey's got the 5th place position. Tony Danzig following Dylan Kaiser in 7th. Right now, only 17, Alexia. We had 30-something sign up. Only 17 showed up for today. JJ Burr crossing the finish line in 8th. Michael Maleta right behind in 9th. Joe Allenson with his low fuel in 10th. Glenn Jacobs coming around the final corner now. There we go, crossing the finish line. He's coming to a stop as he crosses. Is he actually crossing? He is. Okay, Drew Freiberger in 11th. And it looks like the final car out on track will be Simon Tonkin. Ran out of fuel. That's what I thought. I saw you. I was like, what is going on? You ran out of fuel. Hey, at least you finished the race and still ahead of some other drivers, so that's awesome. With that said, we are going to go to our post race. I am going to interview some of these drivers. I don't know if Ilpo is going to join us. He usually doesn't join for these. I have to see. It just looks like Nico.
Go, go, go.
Nico Menendez in chat with us. Hello, Nico. I want to get Carl in here too, whether he wants to be or not. I'm pulling him in.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? How was your race?
It was very eventful. Lots of
Eventful.
mistakes, lots of near misses with death.
Yeah, we saw
So,
a lot
yeah.
of near misses. We did expect closer racing, which we saw a lot of today. Close racing obviously can get you into some trouble. But what was your pit strategy for this race? Did you take tires or anything, or did you just stop and go?
No, I just stopped and go, and that strategy helped me overtake Michel Muleta, who is way faster than me. And then I got lucky with JJ Burr's stop and go that he got, and that's basically how I ended up where I ended up.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that was an awesome race to watch. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys can do next week. With that said, I think Carl, are you with us? Carl, he's muted. I wanted to talk to Carl.
What's
There he
up,
is.
Mark?
There's Carl. Hey, Carl. You get 2
Howdy.
podiums in a day. How are you feeling about that?
I think I had sort of the opposite story to Nico. That was a pretty uneventful race for me. Mostly just hot lapping. But I did the same just stop and go strategy, and I think that did me far much more help than
Okay.
any of my own.
Well, with that said, this series is as you guys know, a real weather series. So we are taking real weather. We are driving mostly UK tracks. So you guys can probably expect some rain and stuff in the next couple of races. So that pit
Yep.
stop strategy may change. Other than just running a normal stop and go, you may end up taking tires more than once. So I'm looking forward to see what you guys can do. I don't know if you guys will be racing Ilpo again. I know how Ilpo is. We love Ilpo, but when he hot laps, he goes, okay, that's enough, So it may just be you guys racing each other, which realistically, that's what you guys were doing anyways, just trying to get away from each other. But
Yeah, Ilpo is in another planet as per usual.
yes, he is. He is from Mars and was born on Jupiter, I believe. I'm not sure. With that said, next week's race, we are going to be at Alton Park, a nice tight track for GT4s. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I'm looking forward to see how the KTM handles there. It's a very challenging car, so I'm enjoying the learning process.
Well, good.
Yeah,
Carl, go ahead.
I thought the Camaro was feeling bouncy here, so
Yeah, you're gonna have to watch out for flat tires and stuff too, because that is definitely something that you'll see happen, especially in the GT4s when you can clobber some of these curbs. So, I'm looking forward to next week. We're gonna take a look at the weather and get all that set up so you guys have something to do, some practice in there. And I think that is gonna be our stream. Any final words from either you two? To pass on to anybody.
No, the usual thing. It's just thank you for hosting this kind of series and keeping the community alive. It's a great thing.
Well, we're happy to
Yeah.
have you. Go ahead, Carl.
to echo that, thanks for putting it on.
I thought about racing, and I almost think I should have raced because I may have been able to get another podium series with the lack of drivers showing up. I expected 30 drivers to be here, but it was fun to watch regardless. So we are going to send a raid out to Snags29. I don't know anything about this guy, but go over to his and give him a follow. Say hi to him. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for racing. And we will see you guys on Tuesday for the second race of the rookie series.